So we came in, took a look at his piece. Decent timber in here, small job, and from what we saw, there's a lot of birch in here. You know, super typical of Pennsylvania is all this birch regen, and the other guys that marked it didn't have any plan for it. And the last thing we wanted to see was a lot of these oaks get taken out without taking care of the birch, because at the end of the day, you take the oak, all these little birch are going to take off, and that's not really what you're looking for. The problem with birch, and I give it a bad rap a lot, but it's, in my eyes, it's a waste of space here. It comes up really quick after any cut. It's super prolific. If you open up an area that has birch in it and you leave the birch behind, that's all you're going to get is birch regen. And it gives you some decent cover when it's young. It sprouts up, it grows pretty thick early on, but then once it gets into this pole stage, it really provides nothing. There's no food. And it grows in these tight clusters, and then a lot of it ends up dying. It never really reaches the potential to make any decent grade lumber. You get some good birch. We did get some okay birch off of this job that we sold for, you know, a little better than tie price, but that's pretty much the best you're getting for birch around this area. But at the end of the day, the last thing you want to see is oak woods turn into birch woods. Everyone wants to, you know, cut heavy and get their property brushed up, but it depends on what you're brushing it up with. You could be making a major mistake if you go to brush up your job and say you do a diameter limit cut and pretty much all the oak gets taken out and you're left with nothing but maple and birch and, you know, junky gum and, you know, all these other species that never reach the diameter that they're really cutting at. And now you've just depleted your woods of even the hopes of any regen with the acorn base gone. So what we're doing in here is more of a hybrid seed tree cut, and we are taking some of the oak. Mostly what we are taking out of here is split stems, oaks with a lot of damage on the butt, the ones that are just prone to blow overs. That's why he originally had it looked at. He's having a problem with blow overs. There's a big one back there. But so we went through. That's how, you know, we pay for the service of cutting out all the birch and trying to get the seeds off of the property to get some proper regen. So we'll come through, take some of the nastier stuff, and then really at the end of the day, the plan is get rid of the birch and set it up for a cut in the future. There's another section on this property that's got some decent hemlock in it. It's got some bigger oaks in there that probably should go. But by the time you get all the hemlocks down to get the oaks out, they're not ready for the size to get to market. So we're just planning to set this job up for a cut in the next 10 years. Get about 7 years is about the max for birch seeds staying in the ground. staying viable. So if we can eliminate the birch, get in here, do some spray for some fern and some stilt grass on the property, and then after 7 years, we'll plan on about 10 years, come in and really open it up and really get some good oak and cherry. There's poplar in here. Get some really nice oak regen, hardwood regen, opposed to just making yet another birch forest here in Pennsylvania. The state is pretty good at using the public ground for just cultivating birch. So there's always different options you can do. Not every cut is so different. The trees marked with blue here are the ones that were marked previous. We're leaving them. We came back through and marked with red. But I mean, if you just take a look, if they would have gone ahead and taken out the blue dot trees, you're really left with not too much in size and decent species. But so it's just nice to see a piece get taken care of, rather than just whacking the best stuff off of it and hoping for the best, which never really turns out. And just like that, just get this stuff cut down. This birch rots up pretty good. Really, birch firewood is great. You just got to keep it off the ground. But so the idea in here is to get all this birch regen down, and obviously there's some fern in here that's going to clog this up pretty good, but at least this won't be getting any new birch seeds for, well, if we keep up with it, it shouldn't get any new birch seeds for quite some time. So after this point, you get in here, let this rot up a little bit, spray out, and get this fern and this stilt grass out of here, and then wait for all these more compatible species of what we're looking for, like even the maple. Get some hemlock in here, but there's some nice shagbark hickories over here. I'd love seeing this stuff take off. There's some poplar over there, oak in here, but pretty much we're just giving everything else a fair chance, because the birch just grows so fast. It really just outcompetes everything else. So whatever we can do to help these other species along, that's what we're gonna do. Really, the days of just whacking these hardwoods and getting nice, good oak regen are pretty much by the wayside. I mean, even just not counting the birch, there's fern that gets wet over here, so this stilt grass likes to come in here and clog everything up, and it's just really hard to get good oak regen anymore. But we're doing what we can to help our customers get back on track and get a healthy forest stand back, and look more of the bigger picture. You're not going to make as much off of your timber initially doing the right thing for it, but down the road it will pay off significantly. Especially if you're going to pass your property down. You can work these woods rotationally. It doesn't have to be one big cut, and it shouldn't be one big cut. As long as you take the right steps, you should be able to rotate your your forest property. But we'll see if I can find anything else to bring up on this job. It's been pretty challenging. We got into this job about 2 weeks too late. We hit breakup while we were here, and it's not the best place to be if you can't be dry. So we're just kind of doing what we can on and off while the weather permits. But had some winch problems here, so it's always just stuff you gotta keep in mind. Like, even I just cut this birch out and I left these beech. Beech is not the best thing to have, but I would much rather see beech coming through here. I mean, if I really wanted to see it take off in here, we would clip those off and the root suckers would just go like crazy. But I'd rather, you know, try and get something else growing in here. You know, they do have the beech nuts, but it's nothing like the mash you're going to get off an oak or a hickory in here. And you know, obviously the guy's using this for hunting. You know, this is going to be a decent spot for him, especially if you get some good oak regen in here. This is going to be the spot. You know, natural food plot. Look at those oaks, are just going to be raining acorns this fall. That's going to be the spot to be. You know, you got a good brush up helps, you know, near term, but after, you know, 10 years, when that brush is above the deer's head, man, you just created a barren wasteland. But all right, follow along. Phew.